All right, here we go. It's 3 hours later on the East Coast right now. I'm out here on the West Coast. It's 6:30 a.m. out here, but it's 9:30 there. They should be up and working and answering the phones. There are concerned citizens who want some representation. Let's see. Are we going to get the voicemail again? 305 222 0160.
Good afternoon. Good morning. Thank you for calling the office of Congressman Gimenez. May I help you?
Yes. I left a voicemail yesterday. I saw the good congressman was making the waves in the media, saying that people need to get their heads examined if they think the government can control the weather. And I just thought it was interesting that on his 26th birthday, if I'm not mistaken, if his birthday is January 17th, 1954, it was his 26th birthday, January 17th, 1980. And I saw he started out in the 26th district in Florida. It was his 26th birthday that the U.S. federal government passed legislation banning weather warfare, which was following up on what they passed in Geneva in 1977 on May 18th. And I just thought it was really curious that an elected official from, our government would make such remarks, because I feel like our elected representatives should be knowledgeable about history. Project Curious, that began in 1947. The U.S. military, they were experimenting with what influence they could have in hurricanes. That first experiment took place October 13th, 1947. Funny enough, that's the same year that Tropicana, the orange juice brand, was established in Bradenton, Florida, where Anderson Cooper was apparently standing all last night. On the same day, they demolished the Tropicana Hotel in Vegas. And of course, the Tropicana roof got its destroyed at the baseball stadium. I guess all these things are coincidental. Again, weather warfare was researched back then as a weapon, as a destructive act, the potential of it, how it could be used on our enemies. So I find it very interesting how they would destroy the Tropicana Hotel, and then, this coincidence with, that experiment in 1947, the same year that brand was created. But then also, you can look into Project Popeye, where the U.S. government said they conducted 50 successful cloud seeding experiments over the Vietnamese troops. That's an admission by the U.S. military. So I'm just wondering who needs to get their head checked. But then there's also Project Storm Fury, which went from 62 to 83. That was the U.S. military experimenting with hurricanes for 21 years. And it is quite funny. That it ended in 83 because Milton made landfall yesterday on the day leaving 83 days left in the year. And they said reportedly at 8:30 p.m., and I thought, wow. And then they even talked about how there were 19 tornadoes that killed at least 4 people. And I thought that's weird because they put out that tornado movie earlier this year on the 19th of July, 83 days before Milton made landfall. And, this might sound a little bit wild, but that movie came out on the 201st day of the leap year. If you look into it, Lyndon Johnson, he said at Jesuit Holy Cross, 201 days after JFK was assassinated, he said on June 10th, 1964, who controls the weather controls the world. And it's interesting that he said it at Jesuit Holy Cross because the first act of weather warfare ever admitted to was by the Royal Air Force, August 15th, 1952, the Lynmouth flood that killed 30-some people. August 15th is the Jesuit order's birthday. And you can look it up. The Jesuits have a document from 1772, the year before they published Art of War, theorizing about the future of weather control and weather warfare. All the way back to 1772, they were theorizing this. And then lo and behold, our government's been conducting weather military experiments since at least 1947. And again, I would think a congressman who even had the bill passed on his birthday would be the first to know about it. And it's not just that either. It's that President Joe Biden, we all know, he's losing his mind a little bit. But if you look into it, he became a senator in 1973. That was actually the year that Congress began debating banning weather warfare after what we did in Vietnam. And you might have heard of the author Kurt Vonnegut. He wrote the book Cat's Cradle about Ice Nine and mad scientists and military and how they could kill and destroy the world. His brother, Bernard Vonnegut, worked at General Electric, and his brother is the one who discovered that if you put silver iodide in the sky, it will attract a lot of moisture and produce a lot of rainfall. So, I mean, popular authors, popular fiction, real based history, all of these things are very real. Yet we have our elected officials going on TV and making headlines saying you need to get your head checked if you think these things are possible. My message to the congressman is he needs to do a lot better job with his research, and we shouldn't have such ignorant people in office who are either ignorant or blatantly lying to the American people and part of a major cover-up. And again, if people would look more into history, they'd find out what Thomas Jefferson said way back when, before him and John Adams coincidentally died on the exact same day, July 4th, 1826. It's funny that they were both very outspoken about the Jesuits and how they could destroy this nation if they came out of suppression. Again, there's a reason they both died together on July 4th and both spoke out against the Jesuits. And there's a reason this nation's capital was moved to Washington, D.C., which is exactly where the Jesuits set up camp. And there's a reason this nation's inauguration day was moved to January 20th, which the majority of the world writes 20/1 like 201, which is also the 201st day of the nation's age. If you look into the Jesuits, you'll find we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, and he's the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. You'll find that their order was preserved by 201 Jesuit priests in the time of their suppression, and you will find that they were created exactly 201 months after Martin Luther penned the 95 Theses, which also does go with Martin Luther King Jr. getting assassinated on the 95th day of the year, and this nation's first gun control legislation coming exactly 201 days later. These people have been destroying this nation symbolically, ritualistically, and we have politicians like Mr. Gimenez who are either blind to history or they're part of this cabal, and they severely need to be either enlightened or exposed. But what I would like to see from Mr. Gimenez is for him to do research on this voicemail that's being left with you, and I would like to see him make an apology to the nation, and then I would like to see him, since it did happen on his birthday, see if we need to reintroduce a new bill, once again banning weather warfare, so we don't have to see the mockery that we saw yesterday as they demolished the Tropicana, and then they demolished Tropicana Stadium and a lot of people's livelihood in what surely is an act of weather warfare, because like what Thomas Jefferson said, this nation, if you bring back a central bank, won't be controlled by this nation. It'll be controlled by warmongers and evil people who will, again, it's not just him. Eisenhower told us too when he left office. He said there is a military-industrial complex and it'll grow to be worse than your worst nightmare if something's not done about it. And by the way, look into the cartoon Milton the Monster coming out October 9th, 1965, meaning yesterday. The storm that was referred to by CNN as Milton the Monster made landfall exactly 59 years to the day later in the time of Jane Castor, the 59th mayor. And funny enough, Mr. Gimenez should also look up HARP and its patent date of August 11th, 1987, which was 59 days before October 9th, because HARP was military technology that was designed to influence storms and even create them. So Mr. Gimenez did a major disservice to everybody yesterday with his very ignorant and false remarks. And I do hope to see him making a major apology and writing the legislation to again ban weather warfare, because I think it would be in all of our interests, minus the central bankers who profit off of these scams as they come in and steal land. And again, our taxpayer dollars go to them. Where I'm not done with my message. This all needs to be relayed. They are making money off of us because our government is going to get money from those central banks, and they will make a profit on that. They make interest. They make billions in interest off of all of these scams. So I would really like to see Carlos Gimenez apologize, please.
Okay, I do apologize for interrupting you, but so you left a message between yesterday and today?
Yeah, but his voicemail is very short, so this is a longer one with even more information.
All right, and what is your name again?
My name is Zachary Hubbard. I am an author. If he wants to be a part of my next book, he's welcome to. I wrote a book about this in 2017, The History of Weather Warfare. So, again,
I was going to ask you, my next question was going to be, what do you do for a living?
I'm an author.
There.
I speak out against the tyranny of our government. I was 18 years old when 9/11 happened. You had to be brain dead to not see that was a major lie as well.
Okay, Mr. Zachary. All right. So I've heard your your information. I will forward the message to the right staff. And I do hope that someone from, well, I don't hope, I expect the office to reach you back. It's going to be my DC office. You're calling the Miami office. And yeah, so thank you so much for your feedback. It is very valuable. What is your last name?
Hubbard. Zachary Hubbard. I can send the congressman a couple of my books if he'd like to read them and get educated. And let him know I'm thinking about running in his district. I'd love to debate him on the stage on this very subject. I think he's going to get smoked.
I would love to, yes, you can definitely either mail them to us or deliver them to us. I don't know if you're in the Miami area.
I'm all the way across the nation. I'm in Washington State, and I can tell you more about that too. Yeah, we had a very horrible windstorm here on the same day that Hurricane Helene formed on September 25th, which was the 63rd anniversary of JFK's weather control speech. So when Carlos Gimenez is saying people need to get their heads checked, he must not be realizing the same head that got a big hole in it was the same head that introduced to the world the emerging technology of weather control back on September 25th, 1961. So yeah, Mr. Gimenez needs to get educated.
I understand. So how do you spell your last name?
Hubbard.
Okay. All right, sir. I will have somebody from the office reach back to you. Thank you for your time, and thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You have a good day.
You too.